everyone, I'm Venice from RockUp, and we're excited to bring you a video diving into a HR use case with Power Platform. Something we've been hearing a lot from our customers and HR stakeholders specifically is about the overwhelm and some of the pain points in everyday tasks because of the volume of people and systems involved. Just one example of this is bringing on a new employee or a new employee joining the company. HR themselves are responsible for a lot of tasks in preparation ahead of the start date for that specific employee, and then are also involved in coordinating other groups to make sure that they get their tasks done for the employee to be ready to jump on board before the start date. And this happens over and over again, and the tasks are repeatable, expected, but a lot of times manual because of the different systems that are involved across the company, from payroll to IT to benefits, etc. So we thought this would be a great use case to start with. So we've prepared a demo for you, and we're going to dive into this this visual that we have on the screen right now of how would we go about starting to lighten this load and make this less complex for our HR friends. Where we're going to start is at the beginning. A new employee joins the company. A lot of times this happens in a variety of different ways at a company, right? So sometimes it's kicked off via email. We see a lot of email communications going on in this process oftentimes. And we're also going to try and lighten that load. So for our example today, we are going to start with a really simple Power Apps form. I am a new hiring manager, and I go to our team, and there's a form where I can request HR to start the process and say, I'm ready to hire this person. Let's onboard them. I have all their information. Their name is Bill Rodney Smith. Their email is rodney.smith@gmail. Phone number is that. And they are going to start April 3rd. We've decided. They're going to report to Dave, and they're going to be doing IT help desk for a salary of $60,000. And if they don't accept the offer by the 27th, we want it to expire. And then I submit that. This is one way the process could kick off, right? But I do want to call out that the process could kick off if your company has an existing solution where somebody's inputting this information already to start. A lot of times we could look at using that. Really, the goal here is that we only input this information into the system one time, right? So we are not going to be copy and pasting their name across different systems that we use or emailing updates. Why we want to really focus on the Power Platform and giving folks access to the data that they need and no more access than they need, right? So we're including payroll information here, and we're going to be utilizing permissions across the platform so that only the people that need to see payroll information have that and no one else. So by submitting this form, we've let HR know that we want to start onboarding here, and I've received a request as HR. Now I have my HR cap on. This is really powerful because we've already gotten something out of email, right? HR is not getting an email, getting bogged down in the messages there, but instead it's routed in Teams where we work already, and I have all the information in the expected format that I'm used to. So I see that Bill Smith is going to be reporting to Dave starting April for that same salary we put in. I could choose to assign this to someone else, send it back with comments, requesting feedback, etc. But this looks good for today. So let's send it on and I'll approve it. Alrighty. What's going to happen is we're going to automatically create the offer letter to send to Bill Smith. So in the past, before we utilized Power Platform, HR would have to go to DocuSign. Well, first go to the document formatting, plug in Bill's information, and have that ready to go and manually send to Bill. Instead, we are automatically creating the DocuSign and sending it to Bill utilizing Power Automate and a Power Platform connector. This is really, really powerful because it's our first example of eliminating that manual input that usually happens using these multiple systems, right? So here is the output of this flow. For demo purposes, it's sent to me, but we'd send it and address it to Bill. And Bill's information is populated here with the templatized information that we want to see. I select review and sign as I'm looking at this from Bill's perspective. And here we go. I see that all of the information that I put in initially is here for Bill Smith, for his title, his salary, who he's reporting to, etc. Wow, that's really powerful and eliminates a lot of manual effort here. Alrighty, as Bill, I've signed it. We've gotten a signed copy. That's great. We have a new employee on board. Next is all of the other tasks that HR has to do once we have an employee signed offer letter, right? So all of these other things have to be coordinated now to ensure that when Bill joins on day one, he has his account ready to go, he has a laptop, he has his benefits all set up. And for this example, we're going to look at what that would look like from IT's perspective. In order to do that, I'm going to dive into our application where we manage all of our onboarding processes. Looking at this, it's really powerful because we can have all the parties involved that we have in this diagram here, but only give the folks access to the information that they need. So from HR's perspective, looking at this, I see all of the folks that are onboarding coming up, filtered by date, and I can have insight into what the other tasks are status-wise, and has HR, payroll, etc. completed what they need to, so that these folks are ready to start day one, right? We have visual markings to ensure that I can see and am drawn to what tasks are most urgent, what hasn't been done. And then I'm able to give IT filtered views into what they need to do and the information that they need access to. So from IT's perspective, they just see their IT onboarding process view and the list of folks that they need to work on to onboard. We see that Bill Smith was added here, and that start date that we plugged in is here, but payroll information is not, right? Because IT doesn't need access to that. So all of this is getting removed from email and automatically shared with the folks that need it. They also have a guidance on what needs to be done from IT's perspective to get Bill Smith onboarded. First, they need to set up the account, because that is a thing that enables other folks to give his account access to payroll, the sites that he needs, etc. Within account setup, I see that I have a setup Azure Active Directory run flow option. We wanted to show that you can manually trigger flows as opposed to how we automatically kicked off the DocuSign flow, right? So we have both options, and we'll go over a third option here shortly. But we're able to hit run flow so that IT doesn't have to go to Azure to set up the user account. We can automatically do that with automation again, and we don't have to plug in Bill's information. We can ensure that no mistakes are made when manually inputting Bill's information into Azure Active Directory. That all happens automatically, and the flow is run. Let's check and see if that worked correctly. We'll search for Bill over here in our users, and we can see Bill Smith, a user account in our tenant created just now. Awesome. We can start to look at not even having a button there if we want to, automate the timing of when that happens. But for things that we want more control over, having an opt-in button is really, really helpful. Now we can say the Azure Active Directory account is set up. Let's go on to the next step. That's great because it alerts HR into Insight of what's been done, what hasn't been done, how far are we in getting Bill's account ready and being ready for him to be onboarded. And also, we can work together as a team that way. Now I see my day one prep tasks, looking at this from IT, and I have my 3 other tasks that I need to do to make sure that Bill's set up. Some things won't be easy as a button flow. If there are things that need human intervention here, we can control them as easy as a trigger, referencing this information, etc. So this is how we're going to ensure that IT gets all the tasks done in the correct order that we want them to get it done. That's really powerful. This cannot be null. And Bill is finished with onboarding. How awesome. The last thing that I want to show you is, for our example here, is talking about some of the communications that need to be sent out to make sure that all these folks that are starting at different times are ready to start and are all set. So by utilizing Power Platform and having dates, tracking dates within Power Platform, we are able to drive automations off of these dates, right? We've seen an example of automatic flows. We've seen an example of a button. There's also scheduling that can happen. So for example, a lot of our HR stakeholders need to schedule things 30 days after a start date, 60 days after a start date. And those are all tracked with manual calendars and having somebody send out a templatized email. We can look at scheduling those emails to send out and not having to rely on someone keeping track of the various start dates by having this information in Dataverse. That's really powerful. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this sparked some ideas for how you can utilize Power Platform. This is just skimming the surface, right? This is meant to show you the art of what's possible and to bring some ideas of how we can customize this for your business specifically. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.